I just got to Logging Lake here after a 4.4 mile hike from the Logging Creek trailhead, and pretty hot and sunny the whole way up. It's supposed to be a hot and sunny week, up in the 90s for the next few days. Had a whole bunch of rain the last few days, and of course right when I get up here to the lake, clouds are rolling in, thunder starts to rumble. The Northfork area here kind of has its own climate, is what I've heard, so there's really no forecast you can trust. But it's not the worst place if it's gonna rain now. Got this ranger station. I can seek some shelter under the awning while I have a little lunch, and for the time being, I'm just getting the kayak inflated and getting my stuff all unpacked and situated for a nice long paddle up to a Dare campsite where I have reservations the next few nights. See how the fishing is on Logging Lake. Lots of big lake trout, non-native invasive species, still fun to catch. Should kill every one you catch. It's best for the ecosystem. Fish biologist says it's the worst thing you could possibly do is put a live lake trout back in these lakes. They're trying to kill them. They've had to nuke some lakes with rotenone and have had to try to trace and mark, tracker tag certain lake trout to find where they spawn and net mass amounts of them and kill them, trying to get rid of them. So any lake trout that I do catch will not be going back in alive. I will eat some, but I can only eat so much. Cow. That's a bull trout. That is pretty cool. Bull trout. Nice size one too. Definitely want to keep them wet. They are protected on the Endangered Species Act. You cannot even try to catch one. I was trying to catch lake trout. But very cool to see. You want your hands to be nice and wet when you touch them. Keep them wet the whole time. Very cool. Good to see. I'm glad it's not just entirely lake trout in this lake, in Logging Lake. Kintla lake trouts basically took over, and all the bull trouts are gone from Kintla Lake because of the lake trout. So I was hoping to catch lake trout, which should be killed if you do catch any. Very cool to see the bull trout. I want to tell the fish biologist I caught one here. Good thing I had a sinking lure. It could have been a problem if that was a floating Rapala. Cool to see though. Baldy is just shadowing me, seeing that I'm catching some fish, and then when I do, he comes and tries to steal them. What do you do about that situation? You don't want to catch a bald eagle. So, I guess I'll just drift for a while and keep an eye on him. Weird and cool. Well, something. I was hoping for a big old laker, but so I got 3 days at the site. I'm sure I can find one. I just got to the Adair campsite. Land ho! And go hang all my food, set up my tent. Day one recap of Logging Lake. I got to the foot, hopped in the lake, and just had a few hours to basically paddle up the shoreline to get to Adair campsite. And that's where I got set up, and now I'm just tooling around a little bit, trolling, trying to see what I can catch in the shorelines before it's completely dark. The sun doesn't set till about 9:30, so it stays light out till almost 11. I didn't catch a lot. The first fish I caught was a bull trout, which was really cool. I caught a few cutthroats, not huge, 14 inches maybe is the biggest. I was losing a lot of them. I'd have them on and they'd get off. Realized my meps, the hooks were kind of bent out. Trout will do that. Fight so hard they'll bend your hooks. And a lot of the other hits I was having, I think the cutthroats were just too small to get the hook in their mouth. And yeah, Logging Lake, viable. Pretty cool little fishery, cutthroats and bull trouts, both natives. And it seems like the bull trouts are just out a little deeper, and there's enough of a shallow shelf that the cutthroats can survive without getting eaten by bull trout. And I thought there might have been lake trout in here. I was trying to catch one because those are non-native, and I wanted to eat one of those for dinner. Did not catch a lake trout, so it was rice. And I'm here on Adair for 3 nights. Tomorrow I figure I'll just fish the heck out of Logging Lake. All the shorelines, just do laps. Well, probably one lap, it's like 6 miles long. And then maybe the next day, go up to Grace Lake. And then there's a lake above Grace Lake that's supposed to be equally as productive as Grace Lake, which is also pretty good fishery for cutthroats. And of course, there's probably bull trout there too. So yeah, see how big of a cutthroat I can catch. Any other incidental bull trout I catch will be carefully handled, immediately released, and appreciated and cherished. Pretty cool view here on Logging Lake. Pretty quiet, not a lot of people here. I've got Adair to myself tonight, but a couple groups to talk to, they'll be there tomorrow night, so I'll have some company, get to meet some people. And you're allowed to have campfires on Adair, so that's pretty cool. Not many backcountry sites you get to do that. So checking out for the night. Mitch Kashub, good thrill hunting. Talk to you tomorrow. Oh, we got a live one. What will it be? It feels kind of nice. Maybe a big cutty. Decent cutty anyway. Jeez, you got the last laugh. Keep my hands nice and wet. Keep him wet. Always want to handle them carefully when they're native fish. They're feisty. Don't have a tape super handy, but God, that always happens. I would give that guy 13, 14. Decent little cutty. See that slash on the inside of their gills is how you identify them, and just a few black spots. That guy will be gently released. Alright, we're catching fish. Catching cutthroat. Happy July 5th morning. I'm up at the head of Logan Lake and actually found it is really shallow everywhere. I was trying to look for some deep spots near the head, figuring that's where the big lake trout would be. But it's all shallow, and I actually just caught a tiny little bull trout. So I am now going to leave this area and just go find where it drops off and gets nice and deep, and see if there are any lake trout in here so I can have some fish for dinner. Otherwise, it's rice again. Maybe there's no lake trout in here. That would be a great thing, ecology-wise. I guess that is the water coming in from Grace Lake. I was expecting raging rapids, but that is not what that is. I'm actually like on the beach right now. It's supposed to be 90 today, and super shallow water, sand. Might be a nice place to come cool off. I'm still at the head, and very shallow, but I just saw a bunch of cutthroats go swimming away. A couple were pretty nice. You can see the black spots, so I know that they're cutthroats and not bull trouts. See if I can entice any of them with the little silver spoon meps. Mitch Kashub guarantee. Come on, baby. Him nice and wet, my hand's nice and wet. It's a pretty good sized cutthroat right there. Nice cutthroat right in front of me, fishing by line of sight. Oh, he sees it. Mitch Kashub guarantee. Oh, missed him. He went for the hit. Embarrassing. Pheasants. Too aggressive with the hook set there. Oh, there's a miss again. Come on. There. Oh. Oh. He wants it, man. He's swimming around. He wants it. There it is. Come and get it. Come and get it. Negative Ghost Rider. There's a bunch of nice cutthroats in this bay, and I can fish by sight, which is pretty sweet, so I'm gonna hunt down a big one, hunt down a 20-incher, and they're pretty easy to convince with the silver spoon meps. just caught another nice sized bull trout, incidentally. I've been trolling all day trying to catch lake trout for dinner. Doesn't look like that's going to be happening. Either the bite is not on, or I have not found them, or they're not in here. They don't like what I'm selling. I don't know. But it was cool to catch another nice bull trout. I think my GoPro is dead. I tried to film it, but it was dead, and of course I had to just immediately release it, so I didn't turn the phone on to film. But anyways, pretty decent day. Caught a lot of cutthroat trout along the shoreline on spinners and little Cleos, and did not catch any lake trout. And then I caught another bull trout. Saw some whitefish. Kind of a few and far between sort of a lake, but can catch fish, can catch trout in here. Worth the trip. Tomorrow, head up to Grace Lake and see if the cutthroat are any bigger. Did you get it? That was a nice little drive-by photo op, yeah. Good morning, Saturday, July 6th from Logging Lake. Today I'm headed up to Grace Lake, above this lake. There's supposed to be a pretty good fishery up there. Cutthroat trout is what I'm going to be looking for. And interesting enough, they stocked bull trout in Grace Lake above Logging Lake so that it can feed Logging Lake. And I think there might be a natural barrier or a man-made barrier, I forget if that's true, to prevent the lake trout that are allegedly in Logging Lake from going up and taking over Grace Lake as well. So that's kind of an interesting situation if that's true, if they stock bull trout in Grace Lake. If that, I don't know if that implies they weren't natively in Grace Lake, which if that were true, I don't know, but that would mean that bull trout in Grace Lake are not native and protected on the endangered species list. So the conservationist in me, I've decided I'm going to pinch the barbs in on my lure and bend a treble hook so that I only have 2 hooks, just in case I incidentally catch any bull trout, that it will be more likely they survive and don't have any incidental mortality. So we'll see what happens. There's a couple ponds above Grace Lake as well, and they don't have names that I know of. No trails there. You would have to bushwhack, but are supposed to be as productive as Grace Lake. So we'll see how the fishing is in Grace Lake and if I'm ambitious enough to check out those ponds above it. It's early in the morning, 6 a.m. Stays light out till 11:30 almost. Should be plenty of time to catch oodles of cutthroat trout and maybe a lake trout in Logging Lake so I can eat a fish for dinner, which I kind of relied on. Otherwise it's peanut butter and tortillas and Cliff Bars for dinner and not much of a breakfast in the morning, which I'm headed out to the truck anyways. I've been trying to troll for like 2.5 days now to catch a lake trout, and that has not been working, so I'm going to try something a little different. It's dead calm, so it's a good time to try it. No lead weights allowed in Glacier, so I got this steel nut and then a lead with this grub on it, and just a plain steel hook, so it's going to be kind of like a Lindy rig, and I can get it down to the bottom pretty easily. I'm in a spot where it's pretty deep, hoping there are lake trout around here near the bottom. Let's try jigging off the bottom for a bit. Maybe we can find a laker like that. So I didn't bring my deeper device sonar. Wish I did. But I dropped it down to the bottom and then used wingspans. Counted 20 wingspans, 6-foot wingspan, 120 feet, over 100. So I brought that into 10 wingspans and a little more, trying to find like 40 to 50 feet so I can jig at the bottom in that depth, thinking if I can't catch a lake trout there, I don't know how. or maybe they're just not biting. Maybe they're no longer in here. Who knows? But this is my last chance for dinner, and then I'm headed up to Grace Lake. Well, Operation Jig for Lake Trout was a failure. Now the wind is picking up, so I got to move on. Does not look like I'll be catching a lake trout for dinner tonight and having a meager dinner of peanut butter and tortillas. Lesson learned, bring more food than you need. Worst case scenario, you gotta carry some dehydrated rice out. A little better sized cutthroat. Quick measurement estimate at long 14. 14 and a half all day. It's good size cutthroat. Still in Logging Lake. Have not made it to Grace. I was just about to the ranger station where I could get out. Immediately another one. This one's got to be also a pretty nice size. Whoa. That is a nice size. Apparently this is where the large ones hang out. "14-incher. It's a good size cutthroat. Another nice 13 to 14-inch cutthroat. Pretty consistent sizes around here. Nice 14-inch, beautiful cutthroat. Lots of them here. Been having a lot of luck right here at the head of the lake. You can see the fresh water is coming in right there from Grace Lake on down. It's very shallow, but there's a couple deep pools and shorelines. And there's a ranger station right over there, so the trail actually comes right to the head of the lake. I would say anyone that is interested in fishing for cutthroat trout on Logging Lake, it's a bit of a hike, but if you get up to the head, I think that's where you're going to have your best luck. Other than that, some streams that are dumping into the lake, so you got sources of fresh water coming in, have also been pretty productive for me. And you can expect to catch anywhere from like 12 to 14-inch cutthroats pretty consistently, and then of course lots of smaller ones that were struggling to get my number 2 meps in their mouth. So I made it here to Grace Lake and talked to some Montanans when I arrived, and one of them advised me that there are West Slope cutthroat as well as Yellowstone cutthroat in Grace Lake here. Yellowstone's being non-natives, no limits. So my hopes and dreams of eating only peanut butter and tortillas for dinner slowly vanishing. I have a chance I might actually get to have fish for dinner after all. So we'll see if I can catch one and positively identify a Yellowstone cutthroat. They have more dots on their stomach and lower fins, more of a yellowish tint, less red on them. So hopefully I'll get to eat some fish tonight for dinner. I trolled all the way to the head, did not catch anything, but usually the head is a good place to start fishing, so that's why I came straight here. And Grace Lake is not lacking in the beauty department, I can tell you that much. Just get a load of the scenery here. That is not a bad sight, catching fish or not. What a treat. Just hooked into something right at the head, and it seems like it's decent size. What is it? Is it Yellowstone cutthroat? Is it dinner? Or is it a native fish I have to let go? Is it a lake trout, which would be a terrible thing? It is big. Can I even land it? Ooh, it is large. It's a big fish. Give him a little drag, tire him out. Ooh, it's a big bull trout. Holy cow. That's pretty cool. Alright, he is in the water. The hook is out. Give you a look. Cool specimen. Really rough estimate with him in the water is 20 inches. Man, what a cool fish. I'm going to carefully release him without bringing him out of the water. So now just a rough measurement, since you have to handle those very carefully and immediately release them, but I looked at them relative to the length of the net, and I would say from the handle how far he stood past the hoop, that was easily a 20-inch bull trout, no exaggeration. So rough estimate, give or take, you know, a millimeter, but I'd say 20 inches. another nice bull trout. No net, just got it next to the kayak and knocked the hook out of its mouth. He will be just fine. So, what I have found is Grace Lake has nothing in it but a few big bull trout. I've basically fished all the shorelines, it's not that big, and have not caught a single cutthroat, which I was expecting to. I'm kind of hoping to catch a Yellowstone cutthroat trout so I could have that for dinner. So it appears when they stocked bull trout in here in Grace Lake, they may have cleared out all the cutthroats, ran them out down to Logging Lake, and since it's just bull trout in here, I'm gonna leave them be, and I'm gonna head down to Logging Lake. There may be some cutthroat in the pond above Grace Lake, is said to have productive fishing, but I forgot my hiking boots. I'm not gonna bushwhack in sandals to get to that upper pond, even though it's only 300 yards. Kind of contemplated that for a minute. It was cool coming up here and seeing Grace Lake. Quite beautiful scenery wise, and it was cool seeing some bull trout, but you're not supposed to try to catch those, and if I really believe that's all that is in this lake, I'm just going to leave them be to live long and prosper. And what a cool story from an ecology perspective to see that there are no lake trout that I could catch in Logging Lake. There are bull trout, and there's bull trout up in Grace Lake, which they stocked them here to feed Logging Lake, and I would call that a successful program. Ran into some locals from nearby the park here. They were contemplating doing the day climb to whatever the heck that mountain behind me is. That would have been cool and impressive. 4,000 feet in gain, jagged. And chatted with them for a while. He said I inspired him to bring his pack raft up here and go fishing. I gave him some tips from my other perusings around Glacier National Park lakes, and told him where he can catch 43-inch pike, 17-inch brook trout or bigger all day. And I also told him that I don't spot burn, and they said they really appreciate that because names of lakes on the internet can really ruin them. So now I'm kind of torn. What do I do with the with Grace Lake and Logging Lake in the video here? My philosophy has been, if it's front country accessible, if it's susceptible to getting spot burned, then I don't say the names. But if it's deep into the backcountry, harder to get to, you have to pack a raft, and there's only 3 or 4 sites and groups per night, and hard to get permits. I feel like that kind of meters down the pressure just enough that maybe I will give up the name. Sorry locals, whatever your names were, didn't catch them. And yeah, I just figure I have to give my viewers something for them to want to keep watching and to subscribe. If I never say locations of where I am, then it's just a bunch of videos of me catching lots of big fish, like I'm some sort of braggart. And figure no one probably wants to just watch that, so Grace Lake is sweet. Logging Lake's pretty cool too. Hope you get here and enjoy it. Nice work, fisheries and biology. Just bringing anglers to the park. More money for the fish biology program. They're doing a great job. Okay, I am back on Logging Lake, and now I am fishing hungry. I really need a Yellowstone cutthroat or a lake trout, which I'm skeptic even exists in this lake anymore, which is a good thing. So if I can get a Yellowstone cutthroat, that would be great. We're moving on a native species and get dinner, so see how that goes. Cast number 1 at the head. Mitch Kashub guarantee cutthroat trout. Will it be West Slope or Yellowstone? The world is just waiting, holding their breath to see. It's a Mitch Kashub guarantee failure. And I just hooked my kayak. There we go. Try again. Trout just surfaced over there. Right in the ripples. Oh, will he catch it? The angling world is holding their breath. Does Mitch get to eat a fish tonight? No, it's looking like peanut butter still. Alright, stay tuned. Check back when I catch something. There's another group of 3, and I sent them here to the head of the lake, telling them there was good fishing here. Oh, swing and a miss. They've been trying to catch fish and haven't yet. And I told them that here at the head, there's lots of cutthroats. Oh, speaking of, and their first 5 casts, they caught 5 fish. I was just about to say they didn't leave me any. That's what Kevin and Ann had told me, that they caught 5 fish, but looks like there is another one. It is a cutthroat. Is it a West Slope? Is it a Yellowstone? The suspense is killing you. It looks like a West Slope. If I can even get it in my net, it matters. In the net. Yeah, that is a West Slope cutthroat. You can see a little bit of red on the belly. Not as many black dots, not as prominent black dots. That one has to go back. Got another cutty. What is it? Looks like a West Slope native. Gotta go back. They are feisty. There we go. Yep. Call that a West Slope. No spots on the belly, a little bit of reddish. Fish on. Guaranteed it's a cutthroat. Probably a West Slope. At this point, that's all I'm catching. I can already tell. No spots on the belly. Not yellowish, brownish. A little bit of reddish tint on the belly. West Slope cutthroat native has to go back. And he sure wanted to go back too. Another fish is on. Basically losing hope that it's Yellowstone cutthroat. Decent size one. Be a good one to be a non-native. Come on, baby. Spots in the belly. Spots in the belly. Misses the net. That's gonna be another West Slope. And it's got red on the belly. That would be a native, mature West Slope cutthroat. It's in the boat with me now. God, it must smell like fish for the grizzly bears. Nice fish. Can't eat. Another chance for dinner. I always feel like it's a West Slope. Yeah, just a really nice West Slope cutthroat. Hard to be disappointed, but not food, so. That's how you release a fish properly. Rolling up to camp, 6 o'clock. No lake trout, no Yellowstone cutthroat. So I'm going to eat peanut butter tortillas for dinner and get back out here, start fishing for breakfast. That would have otherwise been my breakfast. It's the last night here at Logging Lake. Had some really pleasant company tonight, talking to these folks, swapping stories, backcountry stories, Yellowstone idiot stories, just all sorts of nice knowledge and entertaining experiences we could share with each other. So you really got to appreciate that, especially here in the backcountry. You just always meet great people. So yeah, just enjoying the last few embers of the fire before I douse it out and head to bed. Tomorrow's a big day. The loons are saying goodbye to me. Logging Creek, 6 a.m. I have a big day today. I got 5.5 mile paddle to the foot. Glassy calm out there. I better get out there before the wind picks up, because you know it's going to be a west wind, which would be a headwind in an inflatable kayak. And then at the foot, 4.5 mile hike down to the truck. 2+ hour drive to the opposite side of Glacier National Park, Mini Glacier, where I put in for an 8 mile hike from the Belly River entrance to Glenn's Lake foot. Get in that lake, another 4+ mile paddle to Glenn's Head, where I'll be for 3 nights. I'll be getting there real late. It's gonna be like 16-hour day, I bet. 6 a.m. I'm leaving. Gets dark at 11. That's my goal. Beat the dark. Even though I haven't caught a single lake trout, you know I'm gonna try. I got a paddle anyways. Might as well have a line in the water. I'm gonna get this big old deep diver baby and just get down there and avoid all these little 14-inch cutthroats and see if I can find a deep down big old lake or get that 30-incher. Look at that. East wind. I got a tailwind. No lake trout yet. Probably not gonna happen. But happy for this cliff bar and tailwind. Be at the truck soon. This is a really pretty nice way to see the lake, and you get out here and you float and you can see everything, the whole lake, all the surroundings. From the trail you can only see the lake from a couple spots, including the campsites, which you can see part of the lake from a couple of shoreline spots is all. But man, paddling both directions on this entire lake, plus fishing all around the head of it, really seeing every part of the lake from every angle and all the mountains surrounding. So yeah, it's a great way to see the area. Grace Lake, absolutely beautiful. You can see all the mountains. Like, it's pretty limited what you can see from the campground there. And it's just worried if I put this on the internet, I'm gonna have 5 other inflatable kayaks out here next time I come, which the people from Columbia Falls up at Grace Lake, the couple there, is not going to be happy about. I think this might be their favorite spot, is what it seemed like. But you know what? It's a situation you're not going to win, because the people, if it's their favorite spot, they're not going to be happy of you saying the name of the spots on the internet. However, if I don't give up any of the location information, all the people watching and wondering where I am are not going to be happy. So it's a lose-lose situation. My channel, my choice. I think location context is important so that you can really feel like you get the full experience. You can look at the lake, look at the map, watch the video, and kind of see visually for yourself what it's like. And as far as people worried about spot burning, I mean, number one, they've probably also found spots on the internet, which is someone else burning someone else's favorite spot. And plus, it's been done, man. There's a book called Fishing in Glacier National Park. Now, I'll probably really piss off all the gatekeepers, but that book has the almanac of fishing, every lake in the park, what you can catch and how to catch it. So, I mean, the author there, he's already burned down the whole park. So my videos and my 500 subscribers probably aren't really going to destroy this fishery. So I don't think that, there's a big concern. And honestly, if you're going to come up here 10 miles, 12 miles in with a pack raft, 70-pound pack, with camp, with fishing gear, all this work, all this hassle, time commitment, you know what? Hats off to you. You deserve it. It's a pretty awesome fishery here on Logging Lake and Grace Lake. Cutthroat trout for days. Up at the head, it's the best. 14 inches or smaller. There's bull trout you can catch. They're protected on the endangered species list. Incidentally, you can catch them. And allegedly lake trout in here, but I didn't catch any, which is a good thing unless you planned on some for dinner. But yeah, it's pretty nice fishery. It's pretty slept on, so get out here and do stuff. Grace Lake, absolutely beautiful, but no discredit to Grace Lake. Almost every high alpine lake that I've stayed at in this park is the same, unbelievably beautiful. So really, I don't think I'm burning Grace Lake. I think all the alpine lakes in the backcountry are worth getting up and seeing and spending a night on. You get similar beauty. So get out here and do stuff. Still no fish. And I am probably like through 3.5 to 4 miles of my 5-mile paddle, and the lake is still just glass, no wind. That is huge, because you know sooner or later that late morning, afternoon diurnal thermal change, it's gonna pick up and be a heavy west wind. So luckily I've got no wind, maybe a tiny bit of an east tailwind. Thermals downhill in the morning, thank you mountains. So this is working out pretty nice, getting up early and going right away. Still no lake trout. Damn, I see the foot. I see the campground for Logging Foot. That was a 5-mile paddle in less than 2 hours. That's cruising. That's awesome. No lake trout. Giving up. Dang, 8:40. I left at 6:45. Less than 2 hours. I made the 5-mile paddle across Logging Lake to the foot. Whole paddle with a glassy lake. No wind other than the occasional breeze, tail thermal, and rolling up to the ranger station at the foot now. That worked out splendidly. Good start to a huge day.